Hello, in this video you are going to learn how to read data from one Excel file, composition of rows and columns, and save it in a two-dimensional list and then write it to another Excel file or use it somewhere. So here are our two files, data and data2. Now what we are going to do, we have some data here. We are going to copy this data, and I have kept it its size small to for understanding and increase in comprehension. Of course, the rules applied to this data can be applied to a greater chunk of data. So we are going to copy from file data.xlsx, and the sheet is employee data, and we are going to copy it to file data2, and the sheet is sheet 3. These are the two files from where which are involved. So first we are going to read data from here. Here it starts from importing OpenPixel. Then we need to create a reference to our first workbook data.xlsx, and we also need to create a reference to our second workbook, that is data2xlsx. We are going to copy data from this file into this file. Then we need to copy data from first sheet employee data from this file data.xlsx. So this is sheet is equal to a reference to this sheet employee data, and this is the second reference where data is to be copied. Now we have to copy data, so it's better to use a list, or specifically 2D two-dimensional list, to hold data. First, it's better to see how many rows and columns are there. So there are 6 rows and 4 columns. These are the 6 rows and 4 columns. So we define it here. Rows is 6 and columns is equal to 4. Then we define our list. List AB is equal to empty list, and we append about 6 more lists in this list. So list AB becomes a list of lists, and technically it is called two-dimensional list or 2D list. Why? Because there are 6 lists, and in those lists every list has 4 items of data. So here for I in range 1 rows plus 1, list AB dot append an empty list. So we have added 6 empty lists into our list AB to hold that rows and columns. Now copying data or reading data for R in range, starting from 1 to rows plus 1. For C in range, this first one is for reading an entire row. This first one is for reading an entire row. For C in range, 1 columns plus 1, and second loop is for reading each element in a row. Second loop is for reading each element, and E is equal to she dot cell, row is equal to R, and column is equal to C. And list AB R minus 1 dot append E dot value. Now this code fills our list with all the data. Now this line of code is this iterates through each row. That means it will go for 6 times, and this line of code is filling each row, and this loop will iterate 4 times for every iteration of outer loop. And in this, E is equal to she dot cell, row is equal to R, column is equal to C. That means reading every item in a particular row and saving that in list AB. If I print list AB here, list AB, and now you can see whole data is printed here. Serial number, name, age, qualification, this is first row. 1 John 22 graduate, second row. 2 Sarah 27 graduate, third row, and so on. So we have copied the data into a list. Now we need to write this data into our file. So for R in range 1 rows plus 1, for C in range again same 1 columns plus 1, J is equal to sheet 2 dot cell, row is equal to R, and column is equal to C. J dot value, first we have created a reference to the cell where we want to write the value, and then we are picking values from the list. List AB R minus 1 and C minus 1, R minus 1 and C minus 1. And let's see data 2, and of course it is not written here because we have not saved the file. First we have to close it, and there is no need to close this one, and we save it. wb2 dot save data 2 dot xlsx, we save it, and now we are going to open it, and data 2, and you can see all the data is written here. So this was only 6 rows and 4 columns. It could be 6,000 rows and 100 columns, etc. It could take a little bit more time, but it will do the work. This is how we can read data into a 2D list and then write on the same sheet, on a different sheet, on the same file, or on a different file. And one more thing here, list AB R minus 1 C minus 1. Why is R minus 1 C minus 1? The reason is the rows and columns in Excel file starts from rows row number 1, 2, 3, column starts from column number 1, 2, 3. However, in list the indices start from 0. So it is 1 less than the row number and column number. That is why we have minus 1 at both places. Until the next lecture, bye and thank you.